This is an overview of my Smittybilt Scout trailer that I've been building up for a number of years. Alright, so this is fully set up. We have the Alucab 270 awning with a wall kit on it, a little storm kit so it ties it down so it sheds because the pitch of the roof is too flat. 23-0 Sydney rooftop tent. It's the largest one they make with the annex room on it. You can see the spare tire carrier on there. Helps bring the weight a little more aft because this trailer is a little tongue heavy. We also kind of tie the roof awning out in rain to clear the awning. I added an extra jack to the nose of this, just helps make it super solid. It's also an extending one, so no matter how high I need to push it, I can do that, or if the ground drops away. You can see where the spare tire used to be. I found a job site toolbox that fits, and in there I have my diesel air heater. You can see the little utility box I use to run the controller out, so the controller goes up into the tent, as does the tube. You can see right here, that's the location I store the rear jacks. I redid the rear jacks as well. What else? Extra long cable on there that I tie up when I'm traveling, but I have a battery system in the Bronco, so if I drive the Bronco for a couple hours, it refills that battery, which is 72 amp hours. And then there's a DC-DC charger in the trailer that recharges the trailer. So if I drive every day, I can basically have infinite power just recharging it. Here you can see the exit for the diesel air heater, the exhaust, and also the off-road jack. Okay, going inside, I added lighting to the underside of the awning. That is so nice. There's no shadows. Works very, very well. This is where I control all the power from. So I have the Switch Pro system. It's a pricey system, but really in the long term, it's actually cheaper than doing a whole bunch of breakers or fuses and dimmers. Each one of these can dim as well, so if I go to the lights, I can dim those. So it controls and dims, which is nice. This is the Xantrex charger inverter. There's a remote panel. Right now I'm recharging a SAW battery. And then I have a few USB outlets and a cigarette lighter. Added lights to most of the compartments, just a little switch. Makes it nice to have light everywhere. I have 4 of these touch lights made by National Luna. They'll dim, they'll do red and white, and they're weatherproof. So they just sit on the bottom of the tent. Really nice for when you show up at night and you want to set up, you can just click those on. I have this, oh, I'm blanking on it, South African company, this table, and it actually nests right here above the fridge. Kind of see the little tracks in there. Running the Dometic 75-liter fridge freezer. It definitely uses more power than some of the other brands that I've used, but it's a good fridge. Then a couple Wolfpack boxes. Here you can see the swing out, the other part of the swing out rear bumper, and this sort of jack arrangement. I didn't like the way you had to add the extra leg to the Smittybilt Scout, and so I used these jacks, and then I had this welded up. So it does really nice. I also added mud flaps. it's usually my friends behind me on the trail. And I'm not really keen on chucking rocks at them and breaking their windshield. I'm using wheel adapters, which I don't really like, but I used to have a Toyota Tacoma, and so these rims and tires match the Tacoma. Ironically, it's the same bolt pattern as the Bronco, but I don't know if they're interchangeable in the bore centers. Conduit carrier here on the top. We can store all of these sort of awning poles and fishing poles, whatever you want. With the tent, I added a power system to the tent. So this is a box where everything is mounted and it protects the bottom side. It's just half of a like a sort of Pelican case. So the rack for the tent that comes with this trailer had a couple issues. One is it only has 2 bars. You can see right there is where one was. And then right there is where the other bar was. And so with this big long rooftop tent, I was getting, it would sag at the ends, and it was just like a little spongy, especially when you have kids, and those kids are kind of rambunctious. The other issue is you can see here in this hole, when I went down the trail, it would just beat that hole out, and it got wider and wider, and it was getting worse and worse. Also, the sort of awning rack, I didn't think was sufficient, and I know a number of people have broken them. So I had this weld fabricated up, so it has a big, strong structure to support the awning. You know, especially these 270 awnings, they need a lot of support. It has 3 bars instead of 2 to support the tent. So the overhangs are pretty short. The other thing I did is I put these gas assist struts on, and then these rubber bump stops. Originally I had clamps that would hold this against this when it's down. I found the awning, the struts provide enough resistance to movement. I really don't need those. And it broke on me, so I just used these pins. So it works really nice. It's really solid. It's pretty easy for 2 of us to put it up or down. And it supports this 270 awning really well. Right now we're prototyping a little gutter system between the 270-degree awning and the tent. So we have rope track or sail track on one side, then we have Velcro on the other. And so it's still in progress, but this prevents the rain from coming in. Otherwise it would dump right in here where we're cooking and where we have everything out. It's a copy of the Alucab one, but it's bigger and it covers this area. We're gonna do some Velcro straps instead of the good old clamps here. All right, going around here. All right, this is inside the tent. So these are the touch lights once again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Get some nice light down here. Dual ladders is really nice when you have a family and a bunch of people. The setup time on these traditional rooftop tents is longer, but it gives you just so much space. I added these side boxes to go over the wheel wells, kind of unused space, gives you lots of nice place just to store stuff. In this front compartment, this is where my battery and my power system is. It's a little bit of a mess. I have to clean up the wiring. I used to have the controls here, but it didn't work very well, so I moved them. So there's the Xantrex inverter charger, works really nicely. Let's see here. That's the control unit for the Switch Pros. Got 2 switches, circuit breaker switches. Those are for the one goes to the DC system and the other goes to the inverter charger. And then right back here you can see the Redarc DC to DC charger. It's a 10 amp charger, and I did that because I didn't want to have to connect something different, a different cable than the regular tow 7-pin cable. And then I'm running 200 amp hour, can't quite see them, lithium iron phosphate batteries. If I had that to do over, I would have went 3. You can always use more power than you think. All right, so this is the diesel air heater. So this is the Espar or Eberspacher diesel air heater. It is 5 times the price or more of the cheaper ones. You know, the thing about this one is I work in manufacturing and I've spent lots of times in factories with poor quality, both in China and in the US. And I can't sleep easily at night having something burning diesel below my family, made just the lowest cost. Having said that, you know, I've never heard of anyone having a fire. And they can work very well. The key is, there's a couple things that I've learned about the low-end ones. It helps to run kerosene, and you also have to service them almost every year. I opened this one up after 5 years, and the inside was completely clean. There was no reason I had to open it. It has altitude compensation. It is stepless. I know a lot of people buy the cheaper heaters and then they swear them off because they don't work correctly. And not everyone can afford the more expensive ones or think it's worth it, but we're out here a lot. This thing, we've been running it for 2 or 3 nights, and you can see the fuel levels right here on one of these jerry cans. It's not terribly cold out. It's getting into the high 30s, but it's not too cold. And that tube comes out and goes into the tent where the controller is. I've been able to keep it 70 degrees in the tent when it's 20 degrees outside. Pretty awesome, complete game changer. Will dry out shoes and gloves and coats. So if you're out here, you see the snow. Probably can't see it, but it's raining a little bit. Until there, it's raining. So if you're out here in all weather, it can really make a massive difference.